Today I have a older wheel mower. It's a just 2-horse Briggs and Stratton. So, as I can see, it looks like it's been in the garage for I don't even know. I'm pretty sure. Oh man, that's pretty thick. Pretty sure the main form of news actually came from a newspaper when this was being put away, so there's the tag in there. But this is pretty old. Let's just see if there's spark first, and let's go from there. So this is the old style, or literally this just connects and grounds it out. Story behind it is that I guess it was actually in the garage for a really long time. And this is actually hopefully going to be repaired and given as a gift. And yet again, I burned my hand, that's why there's that weird mark on there. Is this full throttle, or is there a throttle somewhere? Oh, there is, okay. I have a feeling this throttle isn't. I guess we don't really need to check it for spark. So these like to shock you if you get too close, so I like to kind of hold it like that. I do not see spark. Let's get a different plug. I'll try that much better. Now I know this one works. It's a little dirty, but it works. Nope. Okay, well, looks like we have to get into some points. Okay, so let's move you out a little bit. There we go. We are going to take this off. Should be a couple bolts to hold this on. Luckily this is the same for all of this style. Whether it's 5-horse, what is that? It's like spider web. Weird. 8, whatever horsepower it is. I think even the clutch is the same. Could be wrong on that one though. This is usually where I find something creepy. No, that's shocking. Okay. Now, let's focus on this here flywheel. We're going to need a 1/4 inch and a remover. Let me get that ready. So the clutch wasn't necessarily giving me a hard time, but at the last pull I did kind of not want to cooperate a little. So we'll probably end up having to repair repair that. But to be honest, that's kind of something you just have to come to terms with when you have something of this age. That clutch is probably the failure of... I've always had a failure quite often, let's put it that way. It seems to be... It's like the carburetor of the recoil world. Is my battery dead? Let's try the other one. This is cast, so it's pretty strong. If it was aluminum, you don't want to put anything in those fins, they'll break. Now, having said that, I'm not saying wail on them either, just be reasonable. Oh yeah, that would have squealed. You can tell it's pretty chunky and gooey and just disgusting. Okay, these are a tad rough. Let me show you why. So sometimes you can get a puller and put it in there, except there's no hole in there, so we either have to drill and tap a hole and one on the bottom, or we get the air hammer out and just pop, or a brass. Let's try a brass hammer first. Okay, so you're kind of in the way, so hopefully this works out well, but you know, I know. There we go. You don't want to hit that too much because you get mushroom it. Yeah, goes right back on. It's gooey, but it was gooey before. Is the flywheel key in there? No, it's not. Let's get that washer before it falls somewhere else. Take the flywheel key out. And this should be another quarter. Oh, nasty. I think this is the first time I had to do points on the channel, at least. Summertime is not usually the time I have to do points. Usually in the winter I get to work with a lot of older stuff, which is what I like to do. Points become a lot more common. Come on. Get it on. Actually don't look too bad. It's a tad bit of crust. So you could take a small piece of sandpaper, emery cloth, lots of things, but I like to take this little file and with the points closed, just kind of hold the top as easily as you can and do this. More likely than not, it's simple as this not making a good connection. I don't know. There we go. I definitely see how I got a little shiny. Let's get it a little more shiny. Because what happens is stuff builds up in there and blocks the connection. You're not going to be able to see a lot of this, but I'm focusing on the top piece. Okay, so unfortunately the only real way to test it is by putting the flywheel back on. So let me put this back on. I'll give it a test. Okay, so I don't want to say that this is 100% of the problem, but a good section at a time, this is a pretty safe thing to do and pretty much get it ready to be done. Sometimes your condenser or your coil could be bad too, so don't think this is a cure-all. But a lot of times, that's just what happens. With most old machines, it's a fairly common thing to have to do a little work to it. Now granted, I don't know this. I would imagine that if you were alive in this time and this stuff was considered new, you probably worked on it quite often. And you just knew how to do it because you did it every year or two. Okay, so we're going to be looking back up there for spark while I twist this. Not that way. I don't know if you saw that, but that was white and bright. That's nice. So, I'm going to properly gap this, put the cover back on, bring it back, and we will see if this runs. So before we put the cover back on, I want to take a look at the clutch. So this could be a fairly decent aggravation if it squeals and squeaks and doesn't run right. There's usually a little place that you can peel up on. If I had my knife, I could probably do it a lot easier. I don't know where that little thing goes. It's like it's here, and then one day I find it like in the bathroom. Why was it in the bathroom? And the next day it's over by the laundry area. Like, what? I didn't take it over here. will help out. It went in there. Slowly coming. Don't want to break it. Well, the screwdriver, I'm not going to worry about breaking this. Maybe now the screwdriver can get in there. Yeah, we mess with this. Okay, so here we have it. So in here there's definitely some goo. It just needs to be cleaned. There's a rubber seal here and a little dirty. Other than that, it's not incredibly worn. I mean, it definitely has its age. Ball bearings, they need to be cleaned. Same thing within here, it needs to have a good carb clean. In fact, let's do that now. So you can go to the store and get, or online. Where is a good, oh, it's right next to you. You can get like the little wire brushes that are like maybe this wide for Dremels. That helps. It actually does a pretty good job. They're getting in there. I like using those. Yeah, it's coming off pretty good. It wasn't very dirty per se in there, but it definitely had some grease. These types of clutches don't like grease, they don't like oil, they don't like water, they don't like anything except dry and clean. You start to add grease and everything in there, it's gonna get messed up. You're gonna be pulling and pulling and pulling, and the little check balls will never grab. Because what happens is, when this is in the center, those little ball bearings get stuck, and then when they get stuck, they allow you to pull the engine over. Well, when the engine starts, due to the centrifugal force, it the little check balls will go to the outside edges, and the center piece will spin freely. Or I guess the outside piece will spin freely, but either way, this will be separate. Okay, I'm going to take my Dremel. I guess we could spray this too. We don't want to spray that because that has a rubber seal on it. Maybe those. The weird part is, though, you are supposed to put a very, very small amount of thin, like automatic transmission fluid, or yeah, that's probably the best one. A very thin oil. Motor oil, even if it's like 0.20, is too thick. It will gum up. You don't want that. So I'm going to take my Dremel, shove it down there. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, put it back together. Be right back. We never cleaned these. Oh yeah. Nice and shiny now. So clean and dry. I feel like that's a common occurrence for all clutches, but for whatever reason this is the clutch everyone assumes needs to be greased. Because it seems to be common. No, 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 no. Well, yes, they do make wet clutches, don't get me wrong. This is not one of them. There we go, nice and clean. Okay, so unfortunately it's getting a little late, but let's put this back together. So that's cleaned up. These are cleaned up. Garage dog is barking at the mailman. And that's it. Press it on. Maybe give a little love tap just to kind of sink it down. Okay, we're going to put this back on. Be right back. So when I said a very light amount of oil, I mean right here, a very, very small amount after you've cleaned it. See how I cleaned that off? So I can do that. So it's the next day, but I put it together and it should be good to go. I tested it for spark one more time, it was still good, so just put a little carb cleaner in there. The tank is mostly empty. Has like a little bit of oil or something in it, so I'm not too concerned with it sucking anything to shit out. But should turn on the cleaner. Oh, there you have it. So we're gonna have to take off that carbon tank. So let's see what we have underneath here. The tank doesn't really look horrible inside there. See if you can look in there. Definitely has a little bit of work that has to be done, but it doesn't look horrible. I can't really tell if that's... It looks like it's oil. Even the filter doesn't look horrible. Oh man. The throat of the carb looks pretty good. You know what I'm kind of thinking of doing? I have a feeling that whoever put this away probably had some idea what they were doing. And put it away right. Because what's down there doesn't really look like old gas. I have a feeling that they might have just coated the tank and put it away. The only thing that's kind of weird is this throttle cable is a tad on the gooey end. It could just be broken too. It's pretty gooey. So we might have to redo that, but it's not too difficult. take a look and see. Oh, okay. Not a 1/2 inch. Okay, I swore it was. Take a look and see what the jet looks like in there. Even that looks clean. You know what? I think I'm going to turn on the air compressor. I'm going to blow that out, clean the top of it off real quick, and put like a rag or something down the tank. Just kind of try to clean it out and get all that ready. Okay, so I have some carb cleaner here, and I'm just gonna spray the inside of the tank a little bit. I already did a little bit, but I wanted to bring it back, and then a tad right there. Wipe it off as much as possible, and either with safety goggles or with your eyes closed, I suppose. Just blow in here. You're kind of in the way, just saying. Actually, no. I don't want the carb cleaner, if it's okay, spraying out of the tank. So we'll do that later. I'm gonna get a towel, wipe all that stuff out, and then we'll do that. Okay, because it's a rather small tank, and take this shop towel, rip it in half, and take some pliers. And just kind of do some of this. See what, ooh. Oh. I think I just now saw the reason why my dog sniffs my trees in the front all the time. Another dog apparently likes to pee on them. That makes a lot more sense now. Every time she walks by, she has to sniff it. It seems like the tank is kind of loose. I tighten those screws up in that carb. Look at this. Hopefully you can tell, but that is pristine. Looks like a brand new tank inside. Let's tighten this down. Oh yeah, those are loose. Way loose. That's weird. That one was. Does it have that weird one? No, the old one doesn't. What's wrong with this spring? Is there only 2 screws on this? There is. Huh. Weird. But now, I'm just spraying here. Okay, what do we have going on with this spring? I might take this spring off and cut off one of the loops and then rebend one just so it's normal, and then lubricate this, put it back on. I think we'll be set to try it out. So let me go ahead and do that. So I'm almost done. I know there's two other things. There's no idle stop screw. So this will just plug forever. I'll just go back wherever it just reaches the end of the carburetor. So I'll have to find one of those. And two, this spark plug is too tall. See how it's hitting the insulator instead of the actual metal part of the plug? That can't happen. We have to bend this up, which I don't want to do, or get a shorter plug. So I'm going to do that. Okay, fuel's in. All that's done. Obviously it needs to be pressure washed still, but that's later. New plug. I also tightened the clip on the plug. It was a little loose. New idle spring. Nothing's in gear. I just want to check to see if the motor runs. It was a little low on oil. Had new oil in it though, but I drained it out, suctioned it out, put new oil in, so everything should be good to go. Let's pull the choke. So the only thing that I would say it's kind of going to be annoying for us here is, in order to get all of the fuel, actually no, these may not have it. Sometimes they have a little cavity. I'm not 100% sure on the old ones, but let's just pull and see what happens. Maybe it's too low of idle. Let's give it a little. I have no idea where to set the idle screw, so could have been too low. Definitely smell gas. Flooded. Yes, we are. Do we still have spark? We might be fighting against that problem. I was kind of wondering what's going to pop its ugly head in here. Let's give it a little kickstart. Throttle. See what that looks like. Interesting. Let's try it again. You might have to take the carb off. runs pretty good. Idle's just a little bit rough, but it's not too bad. I think that's about it. I'm gonna check the self-propel out, but it's already spinning when I was doing that. It's just a little. Here, let me show you. Self-propel is this, I don't know, big wheel, and when you let it down, it just propels you. But that was running when I engaged the blades, so I would have very little doubt in my head that it wouldn't be running. But just in case, I'll check it out. The only other thing I can think of is the exhaust is completely spraying directly towards you when you're mowing. You know, that's just how they were, I guess. I guess when you were mowing, you're gonna have a headache too after. But yeah, I'm gonna pressure wash it, and it should be good to go. I think the only real big problem this thing had was just the fact that it needs its points points cleaned and the tank refinished. Well, taking the preventative that they put in there off. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened. A lot of these old motors, people who put them away, it was just a fairly common practice to put a little oil on the tank. I think that's what that was, just dried oil. But yeah, I think that should wrap it up. The belts look good. I'm going to sharpen the blades. Like I said, pressure wash it. Oil's new. Filter, I looked at it, looks perfect except for just a minor amount of dust on the bottom. I sprayed a little bit of, or I put a little ATF in there just to make it a little oilier, just a little bit more. But yeah, that should be about it. I'll let it run outside for a good 5 or 10 minutes beforehand just to make sure it's all good, but should be it. Well, if you like what you see, put your thumbs up. If you want to continue watching, definitely subscribe. I'll be posting pretty much at least a few times a week. Just not too many times I'm not going to be. Even in the wintertime, I hope to have a fairly decent amount. Knock on wood. But it should be pretty good to go. Subscribe. I will catch everyone later. You have a good rest of your evening.